Hey, good morning. Okay, we are. Okay, so the Mishnah starts off with somebody claiming 2 kesef and somebody responding, I only owe you a pruta. So he's denying an amount and he's admitting to an amount.
Rabbi, where are we?
We are on 39b. 39a. Sorry, no, 39b.
Oh, yeah.
We're on 39b.
Oh, that was Friday.
And we are about 15 lines up from the bottom. Maybe 6, 7 lines up from the lines get wide. 39b. So first word on the line is the last word on the line is Vishmuel. Vishmuel. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 lines up from the wide lines. I don't know how it is in the art scroll, but it's Vishmuel. So our Mishnah had a very important law that when you claim something and a person denies partially, you're subject to a biblical oath called a Shavuos Modeh B'Miktas. Now, very important dispute, which is going to take us for a long time, between Rav and Shmuel. Shmuel is the easier one to understand. As long as you claim minimally 2 kesef, you have a minimal claim you have to make, we don't care how much the denial is. Yeah, you hear? So Shmuel says, your claim has to be 2 kesef, but I don't care how much the denial is. And Rav says that no, the denial has to be at least 2 kesef. So the claim always has to be more to be subject to this oath. Mm-hmm. And yesterday we saw the Gemara went back and forth, proving from the pasuk like Rav and like Shmuel, and proving the Mishnayos like one of them. So now we just finished off saying that the pasuk says ki hu zeh. The word hu and zeh, Shmuel learned as a proof that it's referring to the idea of modeh b'miktas, of a partial admission, and it's also telling you that you have to admit to only the claim. If a guy claims cars and you admit to cell phones, that's not the same claim. That's a separate case. So now, so Rav used those words to teach you those 2 things. Now Shmuel says, "V'Shmuel lav memela shmas mina dechashal atayna." Shmuel says, if the guy claims cars and you admit cell phones, you're not talking to each other. So that's not part of the, that can't be a partial admission. You have where we are, Jules, or no? Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. 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 39. Here, I'm right here. L. So Shmuel says no, we don't need the verses for that because that's logical. If you don't claim, if you don't admit to the claim and deny the claim, so then you don't need a verse to teach you that's not good. That's obviously not a case of partial admission. So now back to Rav. Rav holds you have to deny at least 2 kesef. So Ela Amar Lecha Rav, kesef, the word kesef in the Torah, it said kalim and it said kesef. Kalim was vessels, kesef was money. So Amar Lecha Rav, kesef ki asami kara likfiru da'asa. That which it says kesef in the Torah is extra. Rav is going to prove why it's extra. Why is the word monies there? It says if you claim that you gave somebody things to watch, now you want it back, and you gave him vessels or money. So why do you have to have vessels and money? So Rav says money is to teach you that you have to have a minimal denial of at least 2 monies. So kesef kiyasami kara likfiru da'asa. Kesef, the word kesef in the Torah teaches you is talking about the original denial, not the claim, the denial. I'll prove it to you. Just say kalim. The Torah should have just said if you give somebody vessels to watch. And if it just used the word vessels, so I would have known already that the claim is kalim. Kalim are vessels. And if the claim are vessels, I could learn from there that the claim always has to be 2. Has to be at least 2. So then, kesef the kasar lamali. Why the Torah say vessels and money? To teach you, im eino inyan l'taina, if it's not coming to teach you about the claim, because the claim we already know has to be at least two kesef, has to be at least two vessels. So tineu inyan l'kfira, when it says kesef, it must be teaching you that the denial has to be at least two, and therefore Rav says that the Torah's redundancy by using the word kesef is not teaching you anything about the claim; it's teaching about the denial. The denial has to be minimally two. So if a guy says you owe me 2 kesef and you respond, I owe you only a pruta, then your denial is 2 kesef less than a pruta. That does not qualify as a denial, which will get you a shvua modeh mitzvahs, the special oath of partial admission. How is Shmuel going to respond to this? Shmuel says, Amar lach, kalim, if I only had the word kalim, I didn't have the word kesef, lo kasav kesef. How I mean, I would have thought, ma kalim shnayim, av kol shnayim. I would have thought that just like vessels are 2, so too anything which is 2. If I claim any 2s, whether it's money, whether it's vessels, that would be a valid claim. However, I would have thought if it just had vessels, it doesn't have to be something of significance. Aval davar chashuv lo ba'ina. I would have thought if I claim 2 tissues, and you respond, I only have one of your tissues, that would also make you liable to make an oath. So therefore, the Torah says not only kalim but kesef. It has to be monies. The claim has to be of money because money is of value, as opposed to your rag or your tissue is valueless or very minimal value. That's not enough of a claim. Kamashmalan. So basically, next time you get to the 22nd parak of Shmos and you get to the 8th verse, and it says when someone says when you give somebody kesef o kalim, so the question is that talking about the claim? You give somebody, you're claiming from them money or vessels, or it's saying you're denying. Someone claims, but you're denying at least a kesef amount, at least a money's worth. So either you have to have a minimal amount to deny or a minimal amount to claim. That's a machlokas Rav and Shmuel. And now we're going to go back and forth and try to prove it each way. So now, Tanan, says our Mishnah, Shtei kesef yeshib yadecha, yeshib yadcha. You say you have 2 monies of mine in your hands, and the guy responds, the defendant responds, Ein lecha biyadi ela pruta. I only have 1 pruta. So the Gemara says you're exempt. So let's think about this. Why are you exempt? I asked you for 2 kesef. You respond, I only owe you 1 pruta. This should be a classic case of partial admission. Why am I exempt? My taima, lav mishum de chasro lataina v'tiyufta de Shmuel. Is it not because we're talking about a case where you're lacking the amount you need to claim? You haven't claimed the requisite amount, and therefore it's going to be a knockout to Shmuel, who needs a minimal amount of a claim. Yeah. So wouldn't that be a good proof against Shmuel? It must be a case, according to Shmuel, it must be a case where you're lacking a certain claim, you're lacking the minimal amount of the claim, and therefore it's going to knock out Shmuel. Amar lach Shmuel, no. Mi savris shave katani, dafka katani. Okay, these words shave and dafka are going to read themselves many times coming up. So shave means I just am asking for the value. So when a guy says I want shtei kesef, he's not talking about the silver coins. Kesef is silver. He doesn't care about silver. He wants the value of whatever shtei kesef is. Let's say the value is $2. So that's one understanding. Or when a guy says shtei kesef, no, I'm talking about silver. I'm talking about silver. And a pruta is a coin that's made out of copper. So Shmuel is saying the case in the Mishnah is not a case of shaveh, where it's the amount of shtei kesef. It's some kind of small amount of money to which you're responding to even a smaller amount of money that you owe me, to which the claim has to be more than that. No, Shmuel says we're talking about dafka. I want shtei kesef. I want dafka shtei kesef. I want exactly two silver coins. To which you're responding, I only have a copper coin. So says Shmuel, hold on. Well, if that's the case, so then the rule is it has to be your denial, your admission has to be from the same type of thing the guy's claiming against you. The guy claims cars and you admit cell phones, that's not going to be liable in oath. So according to Shmuel, the case is he claimed silver coins and you responded copper coins. So therefore, Masha tonu lo hodlo, Masha hodlo lo tanu. That which I claimed, you didn't admit to. That which I admitted, you didn't claim. So that's how Shmuel is going to get out of it. If it was talking about the value, so maybe he claimed too much of a minimal value, and therefore that wouldn't be good for Shmuel, because Shmuel needs at least a minimal value of your claim. Maybe two kesef was too little, and then we thought it was a problem with Shmuel. To which Shmuel says, we're not talking about the value, we're talking about the commodity. Okay, so now the Gemara says, if that's true in terms of the first case of the Mishnah, that we're talking about dafka, you're asking for a commodity, you're not asking for the value. Let's keep going in the Mishnah and see if it's going to fit into the rest of the Mishnah. Look at the next part of the Mishnah, later on in the Mishnah. Shtei kesef, a guy wants two kesef. Now remember, kesef either is going to mean silver coins, or it's going to mean the value of two silver coins. So either, let's say, I don't know, let's just say it's called $2. Either he wants $2 or he wants two silver coins, exactly silver, right? So the guy says, I want, okay, that's that example. The guy says, I want a ring. So we understand that simply he wants a ring. He doesn't want the value of a ring. He's getting engaged tomorrow. He needs a ring. So shtei kesef, do you need specifically silver coins for whatever reason? He has a pigeon a ben. He knew that's gold coins, but or just the value. Silver coins.
Silver. Yeah.
Oh, so the guy's a pigeon a ben. He says, I need silver coins. Give back my silver coins. It's one that he uses for the pigeon a ben. So does he mean I need those coins? I need silver coins because he's a Kohen and he's doing a pigeon a ben tomorrow? Or he just means I need fast cash because I'm hungry and the JC is open still, So yeah. So Ema Seva, look at a latter part of the Mishnah. Shtei kesef upruta, a guy says, you owe me two silver coins and a pruta, which is copper. So does he mean the value of silver and the value of a copper coin? Or does he mean I actually want that commodity? So the guy responds, you have that of mine in your hands. He says, no, so now, he claimed two things, silver and copper, and he responded with one, only with copper, a pruta. There, the Mishnah says you're liable. That's considered partial admission. So now, if you learn the Mishnah like Rav, that when a guy claims these things, he's just asking for the value, so then it's very good. The guy asked for two kesef, and he asked for a pruta. The guy denied that he has two kesef, which fulfills Rav's minimal requirement for a denial. Has to be at least a value of two kesef. So then that's perfect. Mishum haki chayav. That's why you're liable. He asked for two kesef and a pruta. You admitted to a pruta and denied two kesef. That's why you're liable. If you understand that when the guy is claiming two silver coins and a copper coin, and the guy responds with a copper coin, so he doesn't want the value, he wants the commodity. Amai chayiv. Why are you liable? That which I claimed, two silver and copper, you didn't respond to. And that which you respond to, I didn't claim. I wanted two silver and copper. So you should have said, I have, some of your silver and some of your copper. That would have been a response to my claim. But you claimed two things, I claimed two things, and you only responded to one of them. So that right now, the Gemara understands, is not considered from the same claim. So says the Gemara, well, you ran into the wrong guy. Why? Midihu time el Shmuel. You're asking that on Shmuel. Shmuel is of the opinion that when you claim two separate things, and the person only responds to one of those two, that is still considered a partial admission. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Shmuel, Taino chitin v'soren, someone claims wheat and barley, and the guy responds only to one of the two. And you only respond to one of them, you're still going to be liable. So you're trying to bring a kasha on Shmuel, but Shmuel is the one who holds that when you claim two separate items and the guy responds to that he owes one of those two items, Shmuel holds that's still considered partial admission. So therefore, that's not a kasha. Okay. Now we're going to say Hachanami Mistabra. We're going to say that our Mishnah really sounds more like Shmuel than like Rav, which means that when a guy claims, he wants the commodity. He doesn't want the value, what we call dafka. Hachanami Mistabra. It's more logical that our Mishnah is talking about cases where the person is requesting the commodity and not the value, which is of the opinion of Shmuel, not of Rav. I'll prove it to you. Midikatani Seifa, the latter part of Mishnah says, litra zahav, which is really a weight of gold. Litra is a measurement of weight, like pounds or whatever. So litra zahav yeshli b'yadcha, and the guy responds, ein lecha b'yadi ela litra kesef. I only have the weight of kesef. So now, he says weight. Does he mean he wants gold? And the guy responds, I only have silver? Or does he mean I want the weight of gold, which let's say is 100 pounds, and he responds, I only owe you the weight of silver, which is only 80 pounds. So you're exempt. So why are you exempt? Well, when a guy says, I want a weight of gold, according to Shmuel, he wants gold. Not the value of a weight of gold. He wants a piece of gold, a litras of that amount of gold. That's what he wants. And therefore, when the guy responds, I only owe you silver, that's not from the same claim. I'm asking for a gold ring. You're responding, I have a silver ring. That's not good. I want a weight of gold. I want a piece of gold that weighs, whatever weighs a certain amount. And the guy responds, I only have your silver. So if that's true, therefore you're going to be exempt, because according to Shmuel, when you're claiming something of gold or kesef, whatever it is, you're asking for the commodity, you're not asking for the value. That's why you're exempt, because the response is not from the claim. It's a different response. You want gold, he's responding silver. That's not partial admission. You didn't admit to the claim. But if you learn the mission like Rav, that whenever you're claiming something, you just want the value of it. You don't want the commodity itself. So, amai potter, why are you exempt? I want the value, the weight of gold, 100 pounds of gold. And you're responding, I only owe you 80 pounds of silver. But we don't care about the gold or the silver. It's just the value of it. So in essence, you want 100 pounds. And he's responding, I only have 80 pounds for you, whatever that value is. So that is a response to the claim. So according to Rav, why are you exempt? That should be a classic case of Moda Miktsas. So says Rav, so we say Amai Potter, Litra Tuvahave, there's so many litras, meaning there's so many of weights of gold included in that claim. I'm not asking for gold, I'm asking for the weight. So there's many pounds or whatever the weight's going to be. There's so many pounds of gold, so I'm asking for pounds, you're responding with pounds. Therefore, that should be considered a partial admission. So now the Gemara is going to ask its question. Ela mid'seifa, from the fact that the last part of the Mishnah is clearly talking about that when you're claiming the commodity and not the value. Ela mid'seifa dafka, reishanami dafka. The beginning of the Mishnah is also talking about claiming the commodity and not the value, because we want the Mishnah to be parallel to each other. If that's true, that we just proved that the Mishnah is talking about dafka, so then that seems to be a support for Shmuel and not for Rav. Lema tehave tifta de Rav. Let this Mishnah be a rejection of Rav, because the Mishnah seems to say that it's only because the only reason you're exempt in all the cases in the Mishnah is because your response is not the same as the claim. The claim is apples, the response is oranges. But if it were to be apples and apples, the fact that you denied a pruta, you'd for sure be liable. According to Rav, you have to deny 2 kesef, not a pruta. So if the Mishnah is talking about where you want commodities, it's teaching you that the reason why you're exempt is because he's claiming oranges and you're apples and you're responding oranges because you want the commodity. But if he really wanted the value, you'd for sure be liable, even though your denial is less than 2 kesef. And if that's true, that's against Rav. So really, Rav's going to respond, no. The Mishnah is talking about where really you're requesting the value, And the reason why you're exempt in all the cases in the Mishnah is because your denial was too little. You have to deny at least 2 kesefs worth. That's the real exemption of the Mishnah. You had one question from gold. I'll answer you that one thing. It says, Amalach Rav Kula Masitin Shave. All the cases in the Mishnah, you're asking for kesef, you're asking for this, you're asking for that. You're asking for the value, not for the commodity. The case of litra, the litra zahav shiny. Litra zahav, the weight of gold is different. Why? Because when you want a weight of gold, you're speaking out, I want a weight of gold. In that case, you're saying a weight of gold. So people refer to when they want the actual commodity as a weight of gold. When you're responding to money, I want X amount of coins. I want silver coins and gold coins. You just mean you want the value. You don't want the actual coin. You want the value of the coin. Because people want money, that's how they speak. I want 2 kesef. You want the actual silver. You want the actual value of the money. But if you're requesting a pound, a litra of gold, so then you're in your claim is I want a weight of gold. A weight of gold is much more telling that you actually want the gold itself and not the value. And now Rav will say, I'll bring you a proof that the Mishnah is really referring to the value and not to the commodity. Teda, the Katani Seifa, look at the end of the Mishnah. It says, Dinar Zahav li biyadcha. You have, I'm asking, give me my gold coin back that you have in my hands. The guy responds, Ein lecha biyadi ella. I don't have a dinner. I only have your dinner kesef or tresis or punjan upruta. So you wanted gold. He responds, I don't have gold of yours. I have either silver or copper or another kind of metal. For that, you're going to be liable. How could you be liable? The guy's asking for gold coins and you're responding to copper. And yet you're still liable. Must be that when the guy requested gold, he didn't want gold. He wanted the value of gold. So what he was asking was, I want $100. And you're responding, I only have your silver, copper, whatever. Doesn't mean silver, copper. It just means I only have $50, $40, $30. I only have that value. So says the Gemara, you're chayiv. Why? Shehakol min matbeya achas. That's all considered one currency, right? Like if you're by American money standards. So the guy wants he wants it's hard because we don't talk in silver coins in American money, but the guy wants the value of a silver dollar. Mm-hmm. And you respond, no, I only have your nickels, dimes, and pennies. I only have 3 nickels. So everyone understands that he wants whatever it is, a dollar, and you're responding, I only have 30 cents. Not the actual coin, even though the penny looks different. It's a different coin than the nickel and the dime, but you don't want the actual coin. You don't care what the president's on that. You want the value of the money. So, Iyamers Bishlama, that part of the mission is very good if it's shaveh. If you're claiming the value and not the commodity. Therefore, Mishum Hachichayev, because in essence, you're asking for X amount of money, and he's responding that he only owes you less than that. So that's a classic case of partial admission. If you want a gold coin, and the guy responds, I only have your silver coin, I only have a copper coin, why in the world are you chayiv? Asking for a car, the guy responds, cell phones. That's not a partial admission. You didn't admit to the claim, and you have to admit to the claim. So Rabbi Lazar, okay, so that's very much telling that the Mishnah is really a support for Rav and not for Shmuel. Because according to this, how is Shmuel going to read this? Shmuel learns that the Mishnah, when a guy claims something, he wants dafka. Dafka means he wants the actual commodity. Dafka. I want dafka meat in my cholent. It doesn't mean I want anything that's called cholent. No, I want specific meat in my cholent. So according to Shmuel, why should you be chayiv in this case? The guy wanted gold. You responded silver. According to Shmuel, means he wanted a gold coin, and you respond, I only have a silver coin. So why are you chayiv? It sounds very much like Rav. So Amar Rabbi Elazar says, really, the case of the Mishnah was when he asked for a gold coin, it was really b'shetaino b'dinar matbeos. It wasn't that it's really every coin is minted, right? There's a mint on the coin. Really, he was just talking about he wants minted coins. That's what he wants. He really wants minted coins. And you respond, I have these minted coins. He wants that minted coin, and you respond with these minted coins. So therefore, the kamash malan, so what's the novelty of that? That's obvious. If he wants this kind of minted coins, and you respond to those kinds of minted coins, so they're all minted coins. So that's also part of the claim. Says the Gemara, no. The kamash malan, the pruta bichlal matvei isa, what we would call a penny, or an agura in Israel. The pruta is the minimal coin. The novelty is that's also included as part of a coin. Now, why in the world would you think that a pruta is not considered a coin? So I heard two explanations. Either the mint on the pruta fades very easily, and therefore you would have thought it's not in the same category as the other coins, which are minted much stronger, or apparently sometimes they wouldn't even mint it always. It's such a minimal value, it didn't always have a full minting, or it didn't have a full mintage. So, but the novelty is no, those kinds of coins that are called a pruta is still in the category of coins, even though most coins have either a higher quality of mintage or they have a mintage. But the novelty is that a pruta is still included. So if you ask for this minted coin and he responds, I only have a pruta of yours, that's going to be still considered partial admission. Okay. Now, I'll bring you like a little bit of a proof for this, that what Shmuel was saying, that he wanted minted coins. When he's asking for gold, he wanted minted coins. That's what he's asking. Dekanami, look, the Mishnah sounds like that. How do I know? Dikatani, the Mishnah says, Shehakol min matbeya achas. The Mishnah itself explains this is all considered one minted coin, meaning it's one category of minted coins. Sounds like Shmuel. What you're asking is for minted coins, and you're responding to with minted coins. The Mishnah itself sounds like that. What's Rav going to say? Rav, who learns the Mishnah, not like this, that really you're asking for the value, not that you want minted coins. You just want the value of it. However you get it, you get it. The Rav is just saying, Shahakol din matbeya achas. Rav is just saying that it all has the halachic status of a coin, meaning when a guy wants basically it's saying it's all considered money. That's what he's saying. It's all considered money. When the guy says, I want this kind of gold, he's referring to money. It's an amount of gold. And when you respond, I have your copper and your pruta and your all these other kinds of coins, that's also referring to money. So it's all like one currency. It's all like one money. It's asking for dollars, responding with cents, asking for $100 bills or whatever, or let's say asking for $1,000, responding in pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars. That's all considered one kind of currency. That's how Rav's going to understand that part. They all have they all have one law. They're all together in this. Okay. Fine. So at the end of the day, Rav holds you have to deny, minimal denial is 2 kesef. Shmuel holds minimal claim is 2 kesef. They have a machlokas. How you read the Mishnah when you claim something? Are you claiming the commodity, the item itself? That's Shmuel. Or no, are you claiming the value of it? If you claim the value, the reason why you're exempt is because your denial was not enough of a denial. You only denied, less than 2 kesefs. You have to deny at least 2 kesefs. That's according to one. The other, according to Shmuel, the reason why you're exempt is your response, your admission wasn't the same as the claim. I claimed X and you responded Y. I claimed apples, you responded oranges. So each one's going to read the Mishnah according to the way they understand what the Torah is saying. Okay. Now, Rabbi Elazar that just explained the Mishnah according to Shmuel, that really, when you're talking about minted coins, the novelty was that even a pruta is considered a minted coin. So, according to Rabbi Elazar, lema midiseifa kishmul mitarid reshanami kishmul. Rabbi Elazar himself understood that the seifa of the Mishnah, the end of the Mishnah, is like Shmuel, and therefore he understood it all to mean minted coins because we're talking about a commodity and we're not talking about the value. If that's true, then let the Mishnah parallel itself. And let the beginning of the Mishnah also be talking about the commodity and not the value. And if that would be true, we have a Tana, Rabbi Elazar, learning the Mishnah like Shmuel, that should be a difficulty on Rav. Says the Gemara, no. Svirle, lo. Seifa dafka dekatani shakom memabei achas v'reisha kirav okishmol. Rabbi Dovid wasn't getting involved in the beginning of the Mishnah. He was saying one thing. That case of minted coins he understands to be like Shmuel. It's true. He came before Shmuel. He understands it's referring to the commodity, not the value. What do you do at the beginning of the Mishnah? You can go either way. He wasn't taking a stance on that. He was just explaining one thing. Minted coins, when you want a dinner of zahav and you want the gold coin, you're referring to that you want coins that are minted. And therefore, if the guy responds with copper or silver, he is responding to the same claim. What he does at the beginning of our Mishnah, we don't know. You can't bring a proof one way or another. Okay. Let's keep bringing proofs. Tashma. A brisa says, dinner zahav zahuv li biyadcha. So you spoke out exactly what you want. You want a gold minted coin. The zahav zahuv is a way of saying you want a dinner is a gold minted coin. So give me back my gold minted coin. So he responds, dinner kesef. I only have a dinner kesef. I only have a silver coin of yours. Says the Gemara chayiv. So says the Gemara, why? Timer the amrle zahav zahuv. The reason is because I asked for a minted coin, and therefore when you respond silver, you respond that you have a silver minted coin. I wanted this minted coin, and you respond that you have that minted coin, but it's all one thing. It's all minted coins. However, if you didn't speak out, I wanted a gold minted coin. You would have just said hastama shavet, but hastama, you would have just said, give me a gold coin. And the guy would have responded, I only have your silver coin. What would be in that case? So then it would be, one second. Hastame shavet kamar. But if he wouldn't have said, I want a gold minted coin, he would have just said, I want a gold coin. And then the guy would have responded, I only have silver. I only have a silver coin. So then what would happen? You'd be exempt. Why? Because in that case, you'd be talking about the value. Meaning, the Bryce is saying, only when you speak out, I want the minted coin, are you going to be liable. If you didn't speak out a minted coin, you just said a dinner of zahav, a gold coin. You didn't say minted. So then you would be exempt. Why? Because you're referring to the value. And therefore, if you say you have a value of a gold coin of mine in your hands, and the guy responds, I only have a value of a silver coin, you're going to be exempt. Sounds like Rav, where you didn't deny two ma'a kesef, you only denied one kesef. And therefore, that should be approved to Rav. Rav Ashi, no. Hakikamer. It's not that the guy is saying, you have my gold minted coin. He didn't say that. He's just saying, Hakikamer, Kola Omer dinar zav is Omer dinar zav zav dami. The Bryce is just telling you a general rule. Not the guy is claiming a gold minted coin. It's just teaching you that whenever you say you want a gold coin, it's another way of saying that you want a gold minted coin. That's all it's saying. That a dinar zahav is another way of saying, I want your gold minted coin. That's all it's saying. So you can't bring an implication from there for what would have been if you'd have claimed the gold coin. Because we're not talking about you actually said the words, I want a gold minted coin. It was just telling you that whether you say a gold coin or a gold minted coin, that's all the same. And
it all comes down to our currency
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's probably a lot more use of bullion than we have today.
What's that?
Blocks of gold.
Oh, blocks of gold. Right.
Because, today, when you say, give me whatever, you're talking legal tender.
Right.
They're legal, today basically.
Everyone has cash.
Yeah, today basically a chunk of gold or a bar of gold is not legal tender.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a commodity,
Mm-hmm.
commodity is worth legal tender, but it's not. I think in those days you could actually pay somebody with a nugget of gold.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
So therefore, all of this becomes very important.
Yeah, for sure.
But today it's I won't say it's irrelevant, but it's almost irrelevant because we all deal in legal tender. That's the only way we transact.
So you have to know nowadays when a guy asks for his object, he means his object. It doesn't mean the value of the object. I want my car back. No, I just mean I want $20,000. No, I want my car back. I want my kid back. You mean,
I was
Yeah.
building blocks of plastic.
yeah. It'd be interesting to know how this, like in Shulchan Aruch, how the applications of this would apply nowadays, meaning
Oh,
nowadays examples of this claims and response, how would that,
yeah.
um,
So we have minted coins, but we have also unminted, but that's rare.
we have
Kind of
cryptocurrency.
yeah. Well, that's something.
We have Bitcoin. Okay. So,
Yeah, I guess that would be a comparison of a Bitcoin versus a coin.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. If it gets popular enough. So let's see. So Tani Reb Chia had many brisas that he taught. So he has a brisa supporting Rav, L'siud l'Rav. See, these dapim are they take a very long time.
They
No?
do.
It's like every case is, yeah. L'siud l'Rav. No excuse, I'm just saying.
So
Maybe,
much detail.
yeah, maybe we'll do 10 minutes early this week. So that means we have to go to bed 10 minutes earlier. Yeah. So Tani Reb Chia, we can send reminders. So Daf Yomi sleep reminder. So Tani Reb Chia L'siud l'Rav. It's a support for Rav. Sela l'bialcha and chabel diala sela chaser shtei kesef chayiv chaser ma'a pater. Reb Chia is a clear blessing like Rav. The guy says you have a sela. It's a large amount of in your possession. Give it to me. It's mine. And he responds, no, I only have your sela minus 2 kesef. So, I have a sela of yours, but it's chaser shtei kesef. So I'm denying 2 kesef. Right? I have the guy asks for $5. So I'm admitting I have at least 3. But I'm denying 2. So as long as you're denying 2, that's Rav's minimal requirement. So chaser shtei kesef chayiv, you're going to be liable. Chaser ma'a, if he says I have a chaser of a ma'a, so then if I have a ma'a of yours that's much closer to a sela, I'm not denying shtei kesef. There's no denial of shtei kesef, therefore you're going to be exempt. So Rabbi Chia has a brisa that clearly states you have to deny at least shtei kesef. So Amar of Nachman Yitzchak Amar Shmuel Loishanu El. Okay, so now this whole thing about it matters how much you deny is Amar of Nachman Yitzchak Amar Lo Shanu Ella Betainas Malve the Hodas Lova. The lender claims and the borrower responds, and that's it. There's only 2 things happening. Aval Tainas Malve the Hodas Eid Echad. The lender comes with a witness. So then, no matter what you respond, you're liable. There's no minimal requirement anymore. Afilo tanu ela bepruta, you can claim even a pruta, a penny's worth, and the guy responds with, I owe you half a penny, you're going to be liable. Once you have a witness on the lender side, on the claimant side, game over. Dichsiv, how do I know? Special pasuk in the Torah. Every pasuk is special, but the pasuk tells you, Lo yakum eid echad be'ish l'chol aven l'chol chatas. So one witness can't help you for a sin to make you bring it out, to make you liable for an aveira. So it says, you're right, he can't get you for different transgressions. That he can't. It's only one witness. You need 2 witnesses. But he could do is he can make you liable for a shvuah. How much he could do. So no matter what happens, you have 1 witness, you'll be liable for shvuah. V'tanya kol makom sheshnayim mechayim nosamam. The rule, you can put this rule in your back pocket. The rule is, whenever 2 witnesses will obligate you in money, 1 witness will obligate you in an oath. Whenever you have 2 witnesses that would obligate you to pay money, if you only have 1 witness, he will get you to make a shvuah. Now what happens if the guy claims 2 separate commodities and you only respond to one of them? Tainu chitin visor, and give him my wheat and my barley. Says Rav Nachman in the name of Shmuel, if you respond to one of them, you're still liable. Now, you could have understood if I ask, the same way if I claim gold, if I claim a car, you have to respond with a car. You can't respond with a cell phone. You could have understood if I claim wheat and barley. So then you have to respond a partial admission and denial of wheat and barley. But responding to one of the 2, you could have thought was not considered a partial admission because for one of the claims, I said nothing. So basically, do you view it as one big claim or like 2 separate claims? So if it's all one thing, wheat and barley, so as long as you respond to part of that, you'll be liable. If you view it as 2 separate things, wheat and barley, and you only responded to barley and not wheat, so then you're going to be exempt. So Shmuel holds Yechayev. So now, Amar lo Rabbi Yitzchak Yasher, Yeah, that's good. I like that. Like Yesher Koach, right? Good job. And also, v'chein amar Rabbi Yochanan. You should know, even Rabbi Yochanan holds that. Says the Gemara, like, even Rabbi Yochanan holds that, implying that his partner in crime, Reish Lakish, who was his chavrusa, was best chavrusa, because everything Rabbi Yochanan said, Reish Lakish asked him 24 questions on all of the statements. And when Reish Lakish passed away, Rabbi Yochanan, also brother-in-laws, he couldn't get reconciled because he was such a good chavrusa. So if you say Rabbi Yochanan also agrees to that, that sounds like Michlal de Pagal Reish Lakish. It sounds like Reish Lakish argues. Now, it's a little bit of I guess we merited a little bit of some humor. Yeah. Ika de Amri, no. Really like this. Misha Havi Shahile, Vishasikle. What happened was Reish Lakish was so good. He would always listen until Rabbi Yochanan finished talking. And once Rabbi Yochanan completely finished talking, then Reish Lakish would pipe up and say what he had to say. The problem is the person who was repeating over the halach over here, he left before Reish Lakish responded. So Rabbi Yochanan was speaking. He waited till the end. The guy took a bathroom break. Yeah? Meanwhile, Reish Lakish either responded, argued, or agreed. We don't know. So therefore, you can't bring up proof what Reish Lakish holds. Now, that's one. Another say, so Mishtahav Shasile. It sounds like Reish Lakish was drinking something. So Rabbi Yochanan is a good chavrus. Rabbi Yochanan was still talking. Reish Lakish had a mouthful of scotch. No, so he was taking a glass of water. His mouth was full, so he wasn't able to respond. And then the guy left. So we don't know. His mouth was full. And you see from here, he didn't talk with his mouth full. So another proof, yeah. So the guy didn't know what Reish Lakish held. So you can't bring me a proof what Reish Lakish held because I don't know. The guy wasn't there. Lema misayele. Let's bring you a proof that you're liable if the guy claims two and you respond to one. And tainu chitin v'hod lo b'soren pater. Our Mishnah. You claim. Sorry. No, the Gemara. Yes, our Mishnah. You claim chitin. The guy claims wheat, and you respond barley. You're exempt. Okay. Rabbi Gamliel mechayev. Rabbi Gamliel holds you're liable, even though your response is not from the claim. Says the Gemara, let's make an implication. Time of the tainu chitin hodel b'soirin. It's only because you claimed wheat and you responded with barley. But if you would have claimed chitin v'soirin, both wheat and barley, and then the guy would have responded to one of them, hodel b'chaben, then you'd be chayev. Proof to Shmuel. Claiming two, responding to one, you'd be liable. Says the Gemara, no. You can't make that implication. Look, even if you'd have claimed wheat and barley, and the guy would have responded to only wheat or only barley, you're still exempt. Why didn't the Mishnah then teach the more novel case? It taught this case, it taught this argument specifically where the guy claims wheat and you respond with barley to teach you to teach you the novelty of Rabbi Gamliel, who says you're liable. Rabbi Gamliel holds you're liable even when you respond not to the claim. He claims wheat, he responds barley. Rabbi Gamliel holds your chayev. So we taught that case just to teach you the novelty of Rabbi Gamliel. But don't imply from there what would have happened if I would have claimed two and responded only one. Okay. So, yeah.